Morning, everybody. I'll call this meeting of the Community Growth and Economic Development Committee for Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026 to order. Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call, please? Are there any declarations of interest? Seeing and hearing none. Adoption of the minutes of our meeting of January 6, 2026, moved by Councillor Pickles, seconded by Councillor Wu. Any comments, questions, or otherwise? All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. There's no statutory public meeting. So we have some presentations. The first one is Eleanor McMahon, and I will have the Commissioner do an introduction so we know what that's about.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair Chapman. Good morning, members of committee, staff, and guests. It's my pleasure to introduce Eleanor McMahon. Eleanor is a seasoned executive with experience in the private, public, and nonprofit sectors, holding many roles over her career. She founded the Share the Road Cycling Coalition back in 2007, following the death of her husband, OPP Sergeant Greg Stobbard, who was killed by a careless driver while on his bicycle for a training ride. Under her leadership, the Share the Road has united cycling groups across Ontario to make communities more bicycle friendly. She has helped to mobilize municipal leaders across the province, and her advocacy helped the Ontario government change several laws that support safer driving and cycling, including Greg's Law, which was passed in 2009 to toughen the law for individuals who drive while suspended. So along with being the chair of Share the Road, she's also served on the boards of several organizations, including the Art Gallery of Hamilton, and Eleanor also leads her McMahon Public Affairs and Communications, which supports clients and organizations in a variety of sectors. Eleanor, it's my pleasure to welcome you this morning. Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning, Eleanor. Welcome.
Good morning, Chair Chapman. Thank you so much for having me here this morning. I'm delighted to be here with all of you, and thank you for that kind introduction. I would add, perhaps because it's relevant to everyone in this room, and I thank you all for your public service, by the way, all of the elected people who are here. Thank you so much for doing what you do every single day to help the people that live in your communities. I, too, had the privilege of elected politics, and I served in the Wynne Cabinet as President of the Treasury Board and the Minister responsible for Tourism, Culture and Sport, and as the MPP for Burlington. So having been elected myself, I know some of the challenges and the joys that come with elected office, but I wanted to take that opportunity and thank you. I want to thank the staff who are here, the members of the gallery, and the citizens who are here. And on behalf of our board of directors, I'm very honored to be with you today to congratulate you on being the first regional government in Ontario to achieve bicycle-friendly status. So it's a big day for all of you. I know that deserves some applause. We're quite excited about it. I was telling the chair that I'm going to quickly call Gary Carr, who's my regional chair, and say, Gary, you better hurry up because Durham has beat you to the punch. And so congratulations, Durham. And as was mentioned, my late husband catalyzed the work that we do at the coalition. We lived here in Whitby, and Greg was at the OPP detachment, the Whitby detachment. So I feel like I've come home again, and it's all the much more joyous for me to be here today. So the Coalition is Ontario's cycling advocacy and policy organization. As was mentioned, we were created in 2007 to unite cycling organizations from across the province, work with and on behalf of municipalities and upper tier governments to enhance their capacity and assist them in their efforts to make their communities more bicycle friendly, to advocate for investment and engage all levels of government. Central to our work, in addition to running many programs, our safety, education, and awareness campaign. We brought the Bicycle Friendly Community Program to Canada in 2010. It was a program that was launched by the League of American Bicyclists, which is a national organization based in DC that has existed for over 100 years. They have a vast and robust cycling caucus in Congress, and learning from them, we launched the program at AMO in Windsor in 2010, and over the last 16 years, we've made steady progress. The awards recognize municipalities from across the province that have demonstrated exceptional commitment to creating safe, accessible, and vibrant cycling environments. Municipalities who apply receive an in-depth report that honors success and provides practical information on how to focus programming. And so I want, in a very special way, to recognize the staff who are here, who worked so hard on the application. Chris Leach is here. Daniel Culp, who just had a baby, is not here. And both of them really drove this with support, of course, from Colleen, who is also here. And so I know that all of you electeds are very proud of your staff, and you should be, because they're exceptional and they led this effort. So bragging rights are important. Being the first region is important, but most importantly, this is the satisfaction that all of you have of responding to your residents, to people who want to ride more often because of all the benefits that cycling brings to their daily lives. Communities are evaluated across 5 key areas, and it's a robust application: engineering, education, environment, equity, evaluation, and planning. We call them the 6 E's. Awards are granted at bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. We don't have any platinum award-winning municipalities yet, but we believe there's 2 in the queue, and we might be able to announce them this fall, which is very exciting. In December, we announced 8 more award winners, including Durham, bringing the total number of bicycle-friendly communities in Ontario to 61, representing more than 10.8 million Ontario residents that now live in a designated bicycle-friendly community, and that's 2/3 of our province's population. There are a number of attributes that bicycle-friendly communities have: connected networks, connections to transit, so many investments in transit these days, safe places for people of all ages to ride, opportunities for economic development. The list goes on and on. But above all, bike-friendly municipalities exemplify innovation and dedication to creating healthy, safe, and active communities with important investments in cycling infrastructure, education programs, and community engagement. So bravo again to all of you. Durham joins a growing network of bike-friendly communities across Ontario that are working to improve cycling for their residents, who in growing numbers are choosing cycling as an affordable option for daily travel. In fact, we know from our polling data, because we do province-wide polling research, that 68% of Ontarians, or 9.8 million people, ride their bike at least monthly, with 22% of Ontarians, or 3.2 million people, saying they ride their bike frequently, daily or almost daily. But more than this, the Bike Friendly Award demonstrates the degree to which you, as municipal government and staff, are responding to the growing number of citizens who want to choose cycling every day for reasons related to affordability and health. Cycling is one of the fastest, most efficient, cost-effective ways to travel, and it has a number of benefits that include enhanced health, congestion mitigation. As was mentioned, I lost my husband 20 years ago, and that catalyzed significant legislative and other change. Coroner's review into cycling deaths in 2012 that led to 3 changes to the Highway Traffic Act and $125 million in investment for municipalities looking to help the citizens in their community ride more safely and more often. Our organization, in addition to assisting municipalities and advocates with programs like our Bike Friendly, hosts the annual Ontario Bike Summit, which is Canada's largest cycling conference, an opportunity for citizens, public health to gather yearly to share best practices, and we're looking forward to having your staff there to show off what they've done and what they've achieved and to amplify your success. We're also at the AMO conference. You can find us there. Last June, I had the privilege of attending the European Cycling Federation's Global Cycling Conference as a proud Canadian to talk about what we're doing here in Ontario and to learn from my colleagues around the globe that I have a privilege of having a global network of colleagues that work in cycling and active transport. The Dutch, the Danes, Norwegians, all northern countries, all cold places, all places that have prioritized cycling and safety, and they have 50% of their residents in many places. Oulu in Finland, which is as close to the Arctic Circle, half of their residents are riding their bikes every single day, including during the winter. And in Canada, 40% of our trips are under 10 kilometers. So lest you think that distance is an issue, it's not. And these places are really doing exciting things that we can learn from. In 20 years of work in this area, I've never seen a study that indicates giving our citizens safe places to ride, including our children on the way to school, causes congestion. On the contrary, the bike in front of you is the car that isn't. Congratulations to Durham Region for prioritizing people, their safety, their quality of life. A big shout out to staff once again, to the citizens who make it happen. This award reflects your efforts. You should be very proud. And finally, we look forward to continuing to work with you to make even more progress, to amplify what you've done so that others too can benefit from the inspiration that has led you to today. Thank you all so much for inviting me here. I do have a sign that I'd love to present as a token of our admiration for your efforts, and staff have ordered 2 other signs that will hang prominently in your community, and I have them here, Mr. Chair, so may I invite you and the chair up, and perhaps some of the citizens. I love it. That is such a great idea. Okay. See, you're the boss of me. I'm not very good at that part. I'm going to ask you to come up.
Actually, this is more your award than it is ours. On the other side here.
Oh gosh, I shouldn't be in the center. You can be.
No, you should be in the center. You should be in the center.
No, that's perfect.
No, I'm good. No, I'm good.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for being.
Yes, thank you, Eleanor. And just so that we know, as I said, it's the staff that makes us look good with all this stuff here. I mean, we'll accept the accolades, but the staff are the ones that put all this together and make sure that it happens. We just have to give ideas, recommendations, direction, and approval. And they do magnificent work to make these things happen. So I just wanted to make sure that we all know that, and that we, as a committee, are certainly appreciative of all the work that the staff do. And we do have a question from Councillor Kerr.
Thank you, Chair. You took the words right out of my mouth, so I don't need to repeat what he just said. But Councillor Shahid and I are honored to be on that committee. We have a committee member with us, and we can echo just what kind of quality work the staff do. So my only question is, I am absolutely delighted we got to here. Mm-hmm. What do we have to do to get to the next step?
That's such a good question. So I'll highlight some of the things that we touched on in the report that staff have, and I believe they will have shared that with you. And it's a fairly comprehensive, it's about a 20-page document. So
Well, don't go over all 20
I
pages.
promise I won't. Good grief, we'd be here for a week. And you don't want to hear me prattle on, but it's a kind question, so I'll do my best. And let me start, though, preface my answer by saying that we do work with staff, so this isn't a one and done. So the Ontario Bike Summit is opportunities to share best practice and learn. We have bicycle-friendly community seminars so that we talk about what municipalities need to do. And we also offer municipalities and regional governments workshops where we can come and sit down and have a detailed conversation about how to prioritize the investments that you're going to want to make to continue your progress. Number one is obviously infrastructure. And I know where you're probably going. My goodness, that's money. I know the province is continuing to invest in cycling infrastructure, especially connections to transit that have been prioritized, both from a commuting perspective and from a sheer volume, getting people off the road, getting those single occupancy vehicles off the roads here in Durham is just going to help you with your congestion mitigation, and connecting people to transit is something that you're already doing, and you're going to want to do more of that. I would think about cycling in terms of the active transportation networks that you have in Durham. Your rural areas of your regional government are exceptional and have tremendous tourism potential. And I know that part of that is underway already. I was CEO of the Trans-Canada Trail, which I think you may know. And during that time, worked closely with people here in Durham. So infrastructure is really number one, and creating a connected network. Places where people want to ride. People often say there's a bike lane there, no one rides it. Well, sometimes that's because it doesn't go where people want to go. So put infrastructure where people want to be and go, and connect them to places where they would normally take their car, and involve citizens in the conversation about how should we plan these routes to places where you want to go, so we can mitigate that congestion and take more cars off the road. Education and awareness, if I may continue, and I'll close now, is another area that's really important. I'm pleased to tell you that we're in the midst of launching a new cycling skills education program for Ontario. So when you think about cycling, I'm old now, but I remember when I was in grade school, learning in school, and I'm the youngest of 7 kids, so I had plenty of teachers. But cycling skills education was very much a societal thing. We had Elmer the Safety Elephant. We had it in schools. Kids learned traffic safety and cycling safety, and that gave parents the assurance that their kids could get on a bike and they didn't have to worry about them. It's much more carefree then. We never wore helmets, for example, but life was different. So inspired by the British, who in 2007 launched Bikeability, a federally funded program that has put 5 million children through cycling skills education, predominantly children, but it's actually an all ages program, because in the UK, they have a congestion tax in London, and a lot of people just don't drive. I have friends in London, they don't own a car. It doesn't pay to own a car in places like London and Paris because it's very, very expensive, and they have extensive transit and, yes, cycling opportunities. So people take other options for transportation. You want to encourage that. So launching Bikeability has led to this tremendous surge in next generation cycling, because we want our kids to be safe. As their parents and now grandparents, we want them to feel safe and be safe. So the best thing that we can do is invest in cycling skills education. It's a big gap too in our bicycle-friendly community application. When staff fill it out, certainly staff here but elsewhere have told us for a number of years now that there just isn't the pool of instructors, the kind of curriculum. I will tell you, I'm working with the provincial government now on developing standards for cycling skills education in the same way that we've done for driver education. Anybody that owns a driver education business can't just hang out a shingle that says Eleanor's Driving School. They have to commit to meeting the curriculum standard. We're going to do the same thing for cycling skills education, so parents and educators can feel as though they have confidence in the program, and the instructors who are trained are done so on a diligent basis. So these are some of the things that we're doing to, beyond infrastructure, to really give municipalities the tools that they need, but also to give citizens the confidence that they can ride more often in places where they want to go.
So one follow-up question. One of the big projects that we're working on in the Durham Active Transportation Committee is to work with the school boards to look for ways to enhance, educate, and provide safe AT routes for more children to be able to ride their bike to school rather than perhaps being driven
Oh, it's a huge
however
issue.
many blocks by their parents. So what are your views on those kinds of programs, working with boards of education to try and enhance the cycling education and delivery of safe routes?
I'm happy to talk to you more about that. What I'll say initially is that there are several active and safe routes to school programs across Ontario that we can share with you that you can tap into. It's a little R&D, rip off and duplicate. If someone's done it already, why would you want to reinvent the wheel, pun intended? So we can help you with that. We have them in Halton Region as well. One of the best things that I've seen happen is literally sitting down with schools and teachers and parents at the school level, you may want to think about launching it as a pilot and choosing to do it in targeted 3 areas where you have infrastructure already, so that you're not feeling like you're climbing the big mountain. So where are areas where you have infrastructure now or plans for infrastructure, and start to encourage that. The average trip to school in the GTHA is 2.5 kilometers. As you may know, the average cyclist at an ordinary mortal pace travels about 18 kilometers an hour. So that 2.5 kilometers translates, I'm not good at math, 8 to 10 minutes of school travel per day. That's pretty doable for most children. And to your point, it gives them the start to the day. The studies have proven give them the best way to start with that exercise and feeling great. It helps their mental health. Gives them a chance to work off some of those whatevers they've got going on. They get to school, they feel energized, and they feel great. They also see more on their way to school, and it's more fun for them. So getting kids riding to school, getting parents and other folks to help them along the way with bike trains, where we have an adult at the back, an adult at the front. We'll be showcasing some of this at the Ontario Bike Summit in September. So lots more to come on this, and happy to connect you to resources. But I would recommend to you that you start with a pilot and maybe pick 2 or 3 or 4 schools. That way it's manageable for you, and you can start to create some champions and start to see some success, if that helps.
Great, lots of ideas. Thank you. And
Happy to help.
Chris is the man over there. So
He sure is. No pressure, Chris.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you,
Chair.
Councillor.
Thank you. Councillor Said.
Thank you so much. I am so delighted to see you here and hear you. Thank you so much, Chair Chapman. Through you, I have a few questions. I share this committee with Councillor Kerr, and this committee members, I have to tell you that they are phenomenal. We have a Durham Cycling Coalition.
I know them.
Who are just absolutely phenomenal people with such huge wealth of knowledge. And then they share everything with the Active Transportation Committee in Town of Whitby, which I have been a member of, Mayor's Designate of since the past 2 years. And I can tell you, not only with the staff is phenomenal, we have tremendous staff, but I know that the committee members as well are so dedicated and so knowledgeable, and they spend a lot of time in helping us, guiding us, and advising us. So coming back to my question, thank you for the leeway, Chair Chapman, is you talked about bikeability, you talked about cycling safety, you talked about the provincial guidelines that is going to come forward, which I'm really looking forward, because if I could learn how to bike, that would be amazing. Because if however many years ago you were in school and bikes were taught to girls, it is phenomenal, because I did not learn how to bike to this date, and I'm 44. And I was a girl, so hence I couldn't learn where I was born, which is no disrespect to where I've come from, but that's how it was in the 80s, right? So I would really love the fact that when you had mentioned through Councillor Kerr's questioning is encouraging children to going back to the good old days of making sure that the streets were safe for them to walk, and not only because of accidents or, God forbid, some other casualty, but also for crime safety as well, and keeping our kids safe and making sure they come back home. What is it that we could do? You said piloting a couple of schools, but what is it else that I could do as a regional councillor within my community to advocate that beyond social media posts, beyond just the messaging?
Through you, Mr. Chair, it's such a very good question. I'll talk a little bit about the education piece, and again, I'm happy to continue this conversation with Chris, and we can meet offline as well. I'm happy to come to the committee if that's helpful, and meet with you to talk about how to create some ideas. I think there is a silent majority of people that want their kids to travel to school by bike, but they don't know how, or it's beyond their capacity. We've done studies. The number one reason that people take their children to school in the car, this won't surprise you, is convenience. It's not safety. It's not stranger danger. It's convenience, which I completely understand. Households are busy places in the morning. You're trying to get the kids off to school. You're going to work, etc. You want to catch your GO train. You know, sometimes the fastest way to get the children to school is just drive them. What if you had an ecosystem of support around you where there was a neighborhood effort where kids could get on their bikes, alleviating you of the pressure of driving them, alleviating that traffic in front of the school, the congestion, the running cars, the safety issues, and allowing kids the opportunity to actually have freedom and independence. What cycling did for me as a kid, and I rode all the time. My mom just turned 100 in December, by the way. She's unbelievable. And I'll say this to her all the time. Mom, I probably didn't tell you, but I rode my bike to places I shouldn't have. Just to see a friend on the other side of a busy street, right? But I did it. And my cycling gave me freedom and independence. And giving that to our children, to give them the confidence on how to navigate life's daily stresses, only helps them in all phases of their lives. So I'm happy to talk to you more about how you can do this, but I'll tell you a quick story. I'm at the bank recently, and 3 tellers, all women, in their 40s. And I know this because they told me. And I said, they're all new to Canada within the last 10 years. Would you let your child, do your kids, how do they get to school? Oh, sometimes we drive them, sometimes they walk, but, often we drive them. Okay. Would you let your child ride their bike to school? Oh my gosh. That feels a little bit scary. Probably not. We don't know how to ride a bike. We didn't learn where we came from, and so we don't know how. And so this story gets repeated. You shared your story. So there's an opportunity for us to make a generational impact by changing the healthy habits for life and giving kids the tools and their parents the tools to navigate their neighborhood, their community in ways, because what happened in bikeability, and I saw it firsthand when I've attended classes and I watched the instruction, is that kids start riding their bikes to school, and then before you know it, they're riding to soccer practice, they're riding to their friends, and they're saying to their parents, Mom and Dad, we should go for a bike ride on the weekend. Then their parents start to ride, and we start to change the way things look and feel. So I don't know if that helps you, but I think there's opportunities for you to start locally, to mobilize parents, to have that conversation. And there's great literature and great mechanisms for charting out those trips to school. Your schools will know their catchment population and who lives in the area. You could start doing studies. There's all kinds of really interesting things you can do looking at how the trip to school can be changed. It's really doable and very possible.
That's amazing. And I'm going to leave with this short thing. Whatever you've shared is so insightful, and there's so much wisdom out there, and I would definitely be sharing. Whitby is bronze. We've got this amazing certification here, and I think all municipalities wants to move forward with their levels that they have, and I will be definitely sharing the good word of what you're spreading, and invite you remotely or in person, however, to give us the guidelines of what's happening in other communities and adapting it, not in reinvent the wheel, but share it for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Chair. I think there's an opportunity to, there's so much pent up demand. This is what I'm seeing and hearing from municipal leaders across the province. They want to do more. Sometimes they don't know how. They know what the what is, but the how is a little bit more challenging. And so this is what our organization does, and I'm trying to, I'll tell you a little secret agenda I have now. It's not so secret. I was talking to Cam Guthrie, who's the mayor of Guelph, recently about this because he's on the board of AMO now. Yeah. We should have a main stage speaker talking about cycling and active and safe routes to school and what we can do to connect people to transit and how we can start to share the information that's so desired at the municipal level with other municipalities. It's a big part of the reason that our organization started going to AMO, because I started realizing, talking to mayors, that the mayor of Ottawa didn't know what was going on in Thunder Bay. The mayor of Thunder Bay had no idea what the Soo was doing. The Soo was unaware of what Windsor and Kingston and Chatham were doing. Meanwhile, we had these municipalities that had one thing in common. They want to do more. They don't know how. They want the information. They want to empower their staff. And their citizens are desperately looking for ways in which they can ride more often to the benefit of just about everybody.
Absolutely. Through you, Chair, one last thing, and I promise that is the last thing. Otherwise, I'm giving
Is
you
this
a
a
dollar.
question? Because
Yes, it is.
it's turned into a
understand that.
larger presentation. So go
You
ahead.
just understand how
A question.
inspired I am.
One
Thank you.
question.
A question is that in lower tier municipalities, we are rushing towards bringing safety on the roads. That is definitely speed humps and other ways of making sure the roads are safe. But the question, again, I believe you've already answered it, and I leave this as a question out in the open, is the fact is, how do we bring safety on school zones specifically, also making sure that they're bike friendly? And that's what the question I will leave with you is, how can we do it in tandem with making sure both of them run along in a safe manner?
Yeah, lots of options. I'm conscious of time, Mr. Chair, through you. We'll leave it at that. I will say that when I talked about pilots, part of who you could involve in your pilot is the Durham Regional Police, and an opportunity there.
Other side of that is I think our staff can offer a lot of information, because you need to get the traffic analysts involved. You need to get some of the engineering involved if you're going to start changing some areas of roads and paths and stuff like that. And I know Director
broad
Goodchild
question.
has something worthy to add.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. Next month, actually, at our committee meeting, you'll be receiving a 2025 Smart Mobility Durham report that includes our progress on school travel. We did have 4 schools participate in 2025. And we worked with those schools. I think I mentioned when Mr. Lalonde was here at our January meeting that we need a champion in the school to work with us. But we've had a number of action items that came out of some of these projects. As Chair Chapman said, we need the data collection, so we need both the local level and the regional level working together. We do family surveys at the schools, and we ask for parents and guardians to look at that. We observe the traffic at the morning drop-off, which is the one that is the most scary, and a neighborhood walkabout as well around the school community. So some of those action items that we saw with the 4 schools were that we were evaluating the parking lots for a potential second exit, adjusting intersection signal timings, installing more bike racks, and completing sidewalk repairs just to make that route to school a little bit more amenable. We've also done Bike Month outreach to the schools as well. And we also, they're a reality. Under 16 shouldn't be driving a e-scooter, but also non-motorized scooters, so installing scooter racks at each of these schools as well. So you'll see that in the report that we'll be bringing forward to you next month. We also have our bicycle parking guidelines report that'll be coming to you next month. And then later in the spring, we will also have our active transportation report where we work with the Works Department to really show what progress we've made on cycling infrastructure across our network.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Chair.
Thank you. Yeah, and this is all great stuff, but the other thing is, I think Eleanor might agree to this, is one of the things when you're talking about the school stuff and all that is you need to get the groundswell, right? Because setting all these things in motion to make it, if the parents in the neighborhood doesn't buy into it and start using it, right? This is where, the success comes from, right? We can build all the bicycle lanes we want in the world, but if we don't get people to use them, right, to buy into it, then are we throwing money away type idea. But Eleanor, thanks for coming. It's great to start off the morning with such a passionate speaker about the cause that you're here for, and we do appreciate it. And we know that our staff have been working with you and will continue to have those discussions as we move into looking to have you come back at some point in the future with another one of those plaques that might say silver. Right?
I'm all about it. I'm all about it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much,
everyone.
Eleanor.
This has been great. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody.
And now we have Caitlin Rochon, the Manager of Corporate Initiatives Policy, Light Touch, Lasting Change, Public Art, and Placemaking in Action. It's a heck of a person to follow, Caitlin?
I know. Hopefully I have more magnificent things to
Good
share
morning.
with you this morning. Yes, so good morning, Chair Chapman and members of committee. My name is Caitlin Rochon. I'm Manager of Corporate Initiatives, and I manage a number of various initiatives out of the Commissioner's Office, including public art and creative placemaking. So back in 2017, Council supported the idea of bringing more art into our communities by allowing public art on regional infrastructure, as long as it was reviewed and approved through Works. That direction opened the door for partnerships with our local municipalities. Then in January 2023, through COW2, Council asked us to go further and develop a full regional public art program, something that would help us think a little bit more intentionally about creative placemaking and how art can shape the feel of our public spaces. After hearing from the community in September 2024, Council modernized that original 2017 approach by approving the new public art and creative placemaking policy and program. This gave us a clearer framework, clarified roles, and laid out a consistent and transparent process for us to guide how projects move forward. The new policy still allows partners to install public art on regional infrastructure. And for example, we're working with the town of Whitby right now on a piece that's going to be installed on Thixon Road in the regional right-of-way. But the 2024 decision didn't just update our policy, it shifted our role. We've moved from simply supporting partner requests to now moving to a full program that helps us plan, prioritize, and deliver art and placemaking projects across the region. This positions us as leaders in the regional government space and strengthens how we support community identity and vibrancy. So today's presentation is really about showing you how we're putting Council's direction into action and keeping you informed as we go. I'll walk through a few accomplishments and highlight how collaboration, strategic planning, and community engagement are shaping meaningful place-based projects across the region. But before I do, I just want to highlight that the Ontario Arts Council's latest impact report confirms what we know about this. Arts and culture are major economic engines, community builders, and tourism magnets. Ontario's culture sector accounts for nearly half of Canada's cultural GDP and employment, and every dollar that's invested multiplies into jobs, tourism, and local spending, making arts a strategic driver for growth. Likewise, the Canadian Chamber of Commerce's 2025 Artworks Report reinforces this at the national level. Canada's arts and culture sector generates billions in economic activity, strengthens social cohesion, and fuels innovation. It shows that cultural investment isn't just a cost, it's a catalyst for prosperity and resilience. And these numbers matter because they validate our local efforts. When we invest in public art, we're not just beautifying spaces, we're driving economic growth, attracting visitors, and building stronger, more connected communities in alignment with our strategic plan. So the guiding principles for the public art and placemaking program are bold and inclusive. We aim to enliven public spaces with accessible, thought-provoking art. We leverage local voices and knowledge wherever we can, engaging communities and artists early in processes to make sure that their perspectives are worked into projects, and we showcase local talent as much as possible. We prioritize reconciliation using art and placemaking to act on the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's calls to action and to honor Indigenous relationships with the land. Our approach is agile. We're focused on small-scale, flexible projects that deliver quick, tangible outcomes. And we share stewardship, empowering departments across the organization to lead projects themselves and to collaborate with local area municipalities. And so these principles are not just words, they guide all the decisions that we make in implementing this program, and they bring our vision to life. Public spaces that feel vibrant and welcoming, where art is accessible to everyone, and every project helps build community and capacity. So our process is rooted in collaboration and careful planning. We established a municipal public art working group where practitioners from all of our area municipalities are invited to come together quarterly to discuss opportunities, challenges, and plan shared initiatives. We work closely with our area municipalities and departments like Works and Transit, and I see Bill Holmes is here, to ensure artwork is placed safely, never obstructing sightlines or intersections. We've looked at collision data and reviewed capital plans to select sites that will remain viable for the lifetime of the artwork, and we've adapted to infrastructure needs as required. Geography is a key consideration. We prioritize areas with high pedestrian visibility, but also strive for distribution across all area municipalities. So this sometimes means custom solutions like adapting artwork for unique cabinet sizes in Sunderland, like the photo on the slide, or modifying designs for rear entry transit shelters in Scugog. We host competitive design competitions, sharing opportunities with artists through our social media campaigns and with direct email blasts to over 160 local artists who are subscribed. And then, for example, this fall we had open call posted on our Your Durham website, where instead of coming up with a project idea and asking artists to apply for it, we completely turned the system around and said, you know, you're the artist, you live in the community, please bring your ideas to us. And we had overwhelmingly positive response to that as well. So community engagement's the heart of our work. We invite residents to participate in online surveys about projects. There's opportunities to join art selection committees and actually be a part of the process to select the artwork for different locations. And then we also accept ideas from the public about locations that they'd like to see public art installed in the future. Our outreach for projects is generally geo-targeted because we want to make sure that if we're installing a piece of artwork in Curtis, we're hearing from the residents of Curtis about that artwork. So every step is about partnership, adaptability, and ensuring that art is woven into the fabric of our communities. From the outset, we select materials and protective coatings that minimize maintenance and maximize longevity. Patented anti-graffiti wraps and clear coatings are our standard, and our maintenance protocols ensure that any incidents, rare as they are quickly addressed. Pictured is a traffic cabinet wrap that was tagged. The product that's used to wrap these boxes is a patented product that it makes it very easy to just wipe it off with a cloth with very minimal elbow grease. The paint comes right off. So these are the types of products that we're using when we're installing to make sure that these pieces last a long time. We know that community involvement results in a powerful stewardship co-benefit as well. So when residents are engaged in selecting the artwork for their community or their feedback goes into shaping a project, we know that that increases their pride in the work and you see vandalism incidences go down. We've heard from our colleagues in Durham Region Transit that they're observing less graffiti and less waste in the shelters that have the vinyl wraps installed, and we're going to work to analyze maintenance records over time to further support those findings. So that's why our approach is not just about installing art, it's about fostering a sense of ownership and care that lasts. All right, so go. In just 2 years, our program has delivered 86 public art installations, supported 38 artists, and engaged residents in selection and advisory roles. We've installed 56 Muskoka chairs in public spaces, created one dedicated placemaking project site, and issued multiple calls for artists. Each of these numbers represents a tangible investment in our local creative economy. These are more than outputs. They reflect a growing movement to transform public spaces a little at a time, build community pride, and support local talent. So I've selected a few highlights to showcase the breadth and diversity of our impact. And the first is our traffic cabinet wraps. This is our most common installation. There's 48 cabinets that are wrapped around the region. This was a competitive call for artists. 16 artists were commissioned, and each artwork is installed in 3 different locations spread across the region. You may be aware that the Works Department was previously using a green foliage wrap to wrap boxes as a graffiti deterrent project. So that program was really successful and would have continued, but we took the opportunity to add artwork from Durham Region connected artists. And so the only incremental cost is the artwork licensing. So there's 4 different artists that are featured on this slide, but I'm just going to move to the next one. So the locations were chosen for pedestrian visibility, maximizing community impact and engagement, and consideration of the age of the cabinet, because these wraps can last up to 10 years. So we want to make sure that when we're wrapping those boxes, we're aware of what the life cycle replacement schedule is for those boxes. All right, moving to the next feature, I've got some of our transit shelter wraps. These are our second largest installation type with 22 completed so far. These were commissioned through 2 separate calls for artists, one in 2024 and one this past summer. Each artwork is installed at 2 different locations. These wraps enhance the transit experience, bring art into daily life for thousands of riders, and create a more welcoming environment. I'm just gonna advance the slide, there we go. Again, these works were selected by art selection committees consisting of community members, and the locations were chosen with high ridership volumes in mind, as well as distribution across all 8 area municipalities. One of the most exciting aspects of this project is the different types of artwork that we can showcase. We now have artwork that includes graphic design, oil, acrylic, and watercolor paintings. We have a linocut, mixed media with beadwork, and needle felting. We're truly able to support a wide range of creative expressions. Next is the sculptural benches. These combine function with art, inviting people to pause and enjoy public spaces. These were selected through a Canada-wide design competition and assessed by a committee of professionals. Each bench is placed at a transit stop, serving both as a functional amenity and a sculptural focal point. 5 benches have been installed to date, with 1 more planned near the new Grandview Kids in Ajax. Once they're all installed, we'll be installing panels with information about each work and the artist. And then finally, I wanted to share our most recent project, the Curtis Mural. This photo really does not do this justice. It's about 8 feet tall and nearly 70 feet long. It's a striking transformation of what was once a plain concrete retaining wall along Highway 2. This project came to life with an idea and a community engagement survey, which showed really strong support for the project. 2 possible themes emerged, and from there we engaged Durham-based artist Megan Claire Kehoe, known for her vibrant realism and community-inspired murals. We established a community advisory committee made up of Curtis residents, and Megan developed concepts based on survey results and worked with the committee to refine the selected design. The installation happened in September and October of this year, and because the region was completing some capital roadworks at the time, many residents spent some time in traffic watching the mural take shape. So it became a bit of a local phenomenon. Progress updates were shared almost daily in the Curtis Community Facebook group, and posts received thousands of likes and hundreds of enthusiastic comments, showing just how much this project resonated. And so I think what makes this mural special is the nods to the different places in the community. We have the ducks nodding to the Tooley's Mill Duck Pond, red trilliums, which are found behind the Curtis Community Center complex, the fox, a tribute to Curtis's famous fox family, and then native plants like staghorn sumac and purple coneflower, which grow wild in the area. So every element tells a story about Curtis, its beauty, its identity, and its sense of place. So if you're interested in exploring all of our public art projects, I invite you to visit our interactive map, which is just at durham.ca/art. You can drag and drop the map and zoom into different areas to see photos and information about each of the works that are installed. So in closing, the program is more than just a collection of projects. It's a testament to what's possible when we work together, think creatively, and put community at the center. So thank you for your support and partnership, and I welcome any questions and ideas about how we can continue to build vibrant, welcoming spaces for all.
Thank you, Caitlin. Councillor Kerr.
Thank you, Chair. Well, lots of ideas for me, being a sort of an arts-based guy. First thing is, I asked a prominent graffiti artist to find how many sites we could beautify downtown Oshawa, and he came up with over 100. So when you say that, you know, ideas coming from the community are extremely important, they find stuff that we wouldn't think of. But my question for you is, just one, the Muskoka chairs, very comfortable looking. Are they positioned so that they overlook something of beauty or artwork? What's the purpose of locating them where you locate them?
So the first 16 that we ordered were part of the Doors Open Durham project, and we put 2 Muskoka chairs in each area municipality, and yes, they were located primarily at conservation areas, and they were all placed looking out over water bodies or beautiful landscapes. From there, we heard very positive feedback from our community partners. And what we did is we just ordered a bunch more and we shared them with the local area municipalities. And then the local area municipalities chose where to put them. That's right.
Great, thank you. Yep.
Great. Thank you, Caitlin.
Thank you.
So next we have Ivan Batty, a Whitby resident of aviation-related Durham region in Pickering lands. Mr. Batty? Okay. Mr. Batty, when you're ready, are you ready? I got a lot of paper there, but
Before I start, I'm asking if it is possible for you to put on your screen or provide everybody here a copy of the Toronto ground lease.
no, it's not. You've got 5 minutes to make your delegation, sir.
I
Okay,
understand.
and what you sent in has been shared with the committee.
Okay. There is another on-screen that I asked for, which is the Landover Landings display of the legal zoning. There's a fundamental question that, oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I hear myself, but I don't hear. The Landover Landings legal zoning map shows you the size of the property that you're dealing with. The two largest properties in Durham region are the Pickering Lands and Oshawa Airport, and they're both fundamentally governed by Transport Canada, which comes under the ground lease. And as Roger Anderson explained to me a number of years ago, if you don't understand the ground lease, you don't understand anything. And the question that comes from a couple of the councillors over here last week is, why should a GTA legal agreement for an airport 70 miles away be real for you? The governing, and why would a forecast for it of 18 years ago be of interest? And why was Pickering recently canceled? I can spend a lot of time dealing with that, but in your package, at the back of your package is a evaluation of Toronto Island Airport and the mistakes that have come out of planning here and nationally. Evaluate that as at least $17 million annually. And I can tell you that that's Toronto Island, which is the same size as Oshawa Airport. Oshawa Airport is capable of 5,000 feet. And so that doubles, if you want to understand aviation, that the error, you have had a massive planning error here. And you need to deal with that. You need to go forward. When you have an accident in aviation, the airplane crashes, you bring in an accident investigation team, and they look at what? They don't go who, they don't go why, they go at what. And every what in an accident investigation, everything, always has at least 5 failures, and you have them. John Henry, I sat with you up here about, I think it was this spring, you went through one of the most magnificent, reviews, and you were very busy. And I asked you about what was going to happen, and you said, I'm too busy. I mean, you didn't say it like that, but that was essentially the.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Mr. Batty, you're talking about this aviation, not about what this council. Oshawa Airport is not controlled by this council. It's as you know, it's NAV Canada, and it's the city of Oshawa.
I understand that you don't understand.
Right.
Okay?
Then
So
we'll agree to
different-
disagree. You have 50 seconds left.
Yeah. So if you're going to move forward, and if you're going to understand where you're going, and that what you were dealing with was trying to solve the issues of funding, I would suspect that you would agree with me that there was nothing on that agenda that day that even came close to $17 million. And that's what's being missed here, because you are a nominator to the GTAA, which governs that contract, which governs aviation. And as such, you operate in place of shareholders. And I am a shareholder because I am a Canadian.
Your time's
And
up.
so are you. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Doesn't look like there's any questions, so thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next, we have Jonathan Scott, the Executive Director of Rescue Lake Simcoe Coalition, and he's virtual. Mr. Scott, I see you there. Are you ready, sir? Go ahead.
I am. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can.
Well, good morning, Mr. Chair and committee members. Thank you for having me. I'm here to just briefly present our recent Protect Our Plan from Good Goals to Practical Progress report on the health of Lake Simcoe and the state of the Lake Simcoe Protection Plan. The role of our organization for the past 25 years has been environmental advocacy, stakeholder collaboration, public awareness, accountability, and implementation. We're equal parts education, think tank, advocacy organization concerned about Lake Simcoe. Next slide, please. And we can actually go one more as well. The plan seeks to go from the Lake Simcoe Protection Plan, which has existed for 16 years and has good goals, to implement through collaboration practical progress. Next slide, please. The problem isn't the plan, but how we're implementing it. And the results are clear. Phosphorus has stabilized, but it remains double the target in terms of pollution. Road salt contamination is rising, and beaches have closed 2 summers running. We are continuing to see stressors on the lake with growth and the massive impacts of growth in our region continuing. Next slide, please. Local leadership is strong. The Durham communities, I was in Uxbridge delegating yesterday, are making stormwater retrofits, green infrastructure, a phosphorus recycling facility in Bradford that will be the largest reduction of phosphorus pollution in the watershed. These initiatives are strong, but they require scaling up and leadership and funding from senior levels of government. Next slide, please. Our report talks about the state of the lake and then proposes 13 practical recommendations focused on implementation and what already works. Next slide, please. There are 3 examples that I think council should care about. Dedicated federal funding. The commitment from the federal Liberal government was matched by the Conservative opposition, $40 million. To date, we've received $1.4 million, so we're holding out for the other $38.5 million. We talk about smarter road salt use and a limited reliability framework to save small businesses money and reduce road salt pollution by aligning incentives to ensure that people are able to make smart decisions. We also talk about pro-business and common sense solutions, such as tax cuts to clean the lake, agricultural properties, for example, that restore the creeks on their properties. We propose a new tax cut backfilled by the province to make up municipal revenues in a way that would incentivize farmers and other property owners to steward their land. There are similar initiatives in southwestern Ontario to do with wetlands or forests, but we think this could be a riparian tax credit that would make a real difference. Next slide, please. So what we're asking of council, or in this case, the committee, is to support implementation, receive the report, endorse its direction, and share it with senior governments. We believe that working together, collaborating with our municipalities and conservation authority and the environmental sector is how we can make meaningful progress. Next slide, please. I'm happy to take any questions. The report goes into detail about the state of the lake and those 13 recommendations. And we're really focusing on things that we believe are practical, achievable, and quite frankly, aligned with the direction of both the federal and provincial government. Who wouldn't like to cut taxes to protect the environment? Who wouldn't like to support small businesses with limited liability reform? We hope these are reasonable, practical, and achievable goals to protect the plan that protects the lake and together be able to rescue Lake Simcoe. Thank you, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Right, thank you. Jonathan, are there any questions, committee members? Seeing none. Thank you very much, Jonathan. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
So first up is 7.1 memorandum from our commissioner on Alto High Rail through Durham Region, Councillor Pickles. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting I have to actually push the button on this side here. Go ahead.
Am I on? Okay, perfect. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would move to, sorry, Mr. Chair, if I can move to endorse it and then still speak to it?
Yeah, you can, and you'll need a seconder. Seconded by Chair Henry, and go ahead if you'd like to speak to it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, high-speed rail in this corridor has been talked about, I think, since I was a kid, maybe since before I was a kid. And that was a long time ago. I would say recently it sort of got on my radar again through the advocacy of Councillor Brenner, who's joining us on the meeting today, who was bringing forward at the time that the airport wasn't proceeding, that there might be a good opportunity for, and I think it was more of a high frequency rail as opposed to a high speed rail, which was the discussion at the time. But there might be a good opportunity in North Pickering and some public lands on the east side of Toronto that would serve both the population of the east side of Toronto and the GTA, as well as York and Markham and Durham region, and provide a good opportunity there to have some alternative transport and something that's very viable between Toronto, Ottawa, and the Quebec City corridor. So I know Councillor Brenner is on here, and he'll probably speak to it later. But you know, anybody who's on the east side of Toronto or in North York region, or in particularly Western Durham region, but all of Durham region, if they want to use this service when this is in place, then they would logically have to go to downtown Toronto. So you're actually going backwards. If you want to go to Ottawa, Quebec City, you're actually going backwards to downtown Toronto, or you're going to Peterborough. So I think a site close to the GTA and in Pickering provides the opportunity where, again, the eastern side of the GTA would make more sense to come here to Pickering, and from North York region and from Durham would be well serviced on this potential site. So I'm all for endorsing this, and Mr. Chair, if we endorse it, if we could refer it to council for their endorsement as well, I think that would be appreciated. And I thank Councillor Brenner for his advocacy. I remember when he was first bringing this up, he got a few chuckles from some people in our community, but I do hope it comes to fruition, and I think it would be a very good service to all on the line, and particularly the residents here in Durham region. Thank you.
So just so we're clear, because the clerk needs to know what to put on there, an endorsement, if it does pass, will go to council.
Endorsement by committee and forwarding to
Yeah, so
regional council
what you're
for endorsement.
endorsing basically is, because there's
Support.
no recommendation in this, it's where it says support the
Support.
additional station, and that staff continue working closely, right? That's basically what we're
Yes.
endorsing here. It's
Thank you.
it's more direction to staff, right? Or direction to staff to continue, that the council will support the additional station, and that staff be directed to continue. Is that
Yes.
Is that fair?
Thank
Is
you.
that good, clerk? Okay. As a seconder, Chair Henry, did you want to speak?
Just my comment was going to council.
Hold on, I just want to hold you up for a minute there when you do, when I push your button.
It was important that it makes to council for the vote, but I find it very difficult to understand that a high-speed rail traveling through Durham region will force the residents of Durham to go to Peterborough, which will be faster than downtown Toronto. That the residents of York region and the residents of East Toronto, primarily Markham, would have that challenge of trying to get downtown on lands that were already owned by the federal government. I find the logic hard to understand. I do know the position is it's all about speed, and they'll eventually add, other stops. But those lands, the Pickering Airport lands, this council well, not this council, but the previous council, and there is an endorsement on the record that this council of the day supported the Pickering Airport. And I have seen no announcement from the federal government in any way, shape, or form, other than they said during an election period, prior to the election, that they were not going to build the airport. But there's never been any formal document that I know of that's removed those lands from the development of an airport. And I think as we go forward, and Chair, I know that you're deeply involved in the component about building up our military and developing a military corridor. Those lands have multiple purposes for the aerospace industry related to the direction that Canada is taking on with rearming our military and doing military applications. So I could think of nothing better than a stop there to support the residents of the communities and maybe support the businesses that will be invested on those lands in the future, and not knowing what the federal government's final decision is.
Thank you. Commissioner, seeing how you wrote the correspondence, do you have something you might want to add?
Thank you, Chair Chapman. And just quickly to Chair Henry's points, we are speaking with the federal government with respect to their future plans. Both regional staff and Pickering staff are well engaged as well with respect to high value conservation lands, potential uses for those, as well as economic development in specific sectors, including those you spoke of. So please, for the committee to rest assured that we are engaged with the federal government.
Great, thanks, Commissioner. Councillor Pickles, you want to speak again?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I did mean to note, and it's in the memorandum as well, that on Thursday, February the 12th this year, at the Chestnut Hill Developments Recreation Center, which is beside City Hall in Pickering, there is an open house put on by Alto from 11 to 3 and from 5 to 9. So if anybody wants to come out and make their views known, get further information, speak to people knowledgeable on the subject, there is that open house. And if you do come out, I'll see you there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councillor Kerr.
Thank you, Chair. Just for the benefit of folks who may be watching here this morning, when we talk about a potential stop in Pickering, has there been some discussion as to where that stop might be located, just so people have an idea of what the future might bring?
Commissioner?
Yes, through the chair, we have done some preliminary analysis, which went back to, again, the timing around the airport lands, and along the CKPC line, there are a couple of specific sites that have been suggested, but in this regard, we're very much taking the lead from the city of Pickering.
So at one time, it seemed to me that there was, if the Pickering Airport had gone forward, there was a potential for some kind of a rail stop within the potential terminal area. If you go to Heathrow, they have 2 rail lines that go in there. Is that one of the locations that was being considered in and around that area?
My recollection is yes, and I'll look to Director Goodchild.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, some of the preliminary work that actually the city of Pickering led was maximizing the location to also be close to Southern York region. I think that in this instance where you're looking at a broader corridor consultation, there may be opportunities to look at that future federal lands and where that could go. We don't have the actual route yet. They say that they could use the existing right-of-way, but they could also go off route where it makes sense from an economic perspective for Alto. So those discussions with the city of Pickering, the region, and the federal government, or Alto themselves, will continue. But clearly where that would still be that up for discussion, because it isn't one of those original 6 or 7 sites that were identified, them being Toronto Union and Peterborough, the closest ones to us.
I think the first hurdle with this correspondence and endorsing it is that we want a stop in Pickering, right? We're not going to say we want the stop at at this street and that street or close to this, because that'll all be in the design and the engineering and all that. they'll probably come up with some choices. It's like when the GO extension happened. Where are the GO stations going to be for Oshawa and Bowmanville, right? There was some discussion, if you remember at first, there was like 6 or 7 potential stops before they decided on Thornton Corners and downtown and over into Bowmanville, right? So it'll be the same type of process, I would assume.
Yeah, that's fine. I think that clarifies it. The bottom line is first things first.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
The thing is to tell them that we want to stop in Durham and that we believe the best place for that stop is in Pickering, based on some of the things that the chair has said with, it's not just, put in the middle of Durham so that just Durham residents can go there. It attracts other folks as well. It's like in the old days when the GO train used to stop at Pickering, we drove in from Oshawa to Pickering to get on the GO station because that was convenience outweighed the driving into Toronto. I think this is the same type of thing it's a ways to go yet. Any other speakers? Nope. So on the motion, all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. There's a piece of correspondence from Mr. Glass. Can I have a motion to refer that to the report? Moved by Mayor Watton, seconded by Councillor Shaid. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. On to reports. We have 2 reports. We have Report 2026 CG4 Bicycle Friendly Community Award Bronze Designation, and Report 2026 CG5 Light Touch Lasting Change Public Art and Placemaking in Action. Can I have somebody move both of them? Moved by Mayor Watton, seconded by Councillor Kerr. Anybody want to speak on either one of them? No? All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Is there any other business? Seeing none, can I have a motion to adjourn? Moved by Councillor Shaid, seconded by Councillor Kerr. Our next meeting is March 3rd at 9:30 in the morning. All in favor of adjournment? Opposed? That is carried. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.